Welcome to Deliverance Tube, where spiritual battles end in victory. Freedom starts here.
You are welcome to Deliverance Tube. My name is Pastor Ebenezer Makalimi, and today we begin a very important journey. Is your marriage legal before God and man? This is part 4 of our title, Faith, Law and Culture, the true meaning of marriage. Many couples are living together, but are they truly married in the eyes of God? And are they legally recognized in the eyes of man? Today, we break down the truth every believer and unbeliever alike needs to know. Now, to help us explore this powerful topic in depth, let's go to our narrator, Sister Sarah, who will guide us through the full teaching.
Thank you, Pastor Ebenezer. Marriage is one of the most sacred institutions created by God, yet across many cultures, traditions, and legal systems, the definition of a valid marriage can be confusing. Today's journey will bring clarity. Welcome once again to Faith, Law and Culture, the true meaning of marriage. I'm your host and narrator, and it's a privilege to have you join us for another eye-opening journey as we continue to uncover what truly defines marriage, not just in tradition, or in spirit, but in the reality of law and life. In the past few episodes, we have walked through the heart of this conversation together. In episode 1, we explored the foundation of faith, where marriage began, what it means as a divine covenant, and how God views the union between man and woman. In episode 2, we stepped into culture and custom, uncovering how traditions give marriage identity, respect, and community approval, through rites, dowry, and ancestral honor. Then, in episode 3, we stood at the crossroads where faith and culture collide, when beliefs differ, when customs clash with doctrine, and how confusion often follows when love, religion, and tradition pull in opposite directions. But today, we take a new turn, one that affects more homes than most people realize. Because beyond the blessings of pastors, the approval of families, and the joy of celebration lies a question very few couples ever ask. Is our marriage valid in the eyes of the law? Yes, many unions celebrated with songs, prayers, and gifts, are not legally recognized. Some couples discover the painful truth only when tragedy strikes, or when one partner passes away, or when property or custody becomes an issue. In this 4th episode, titled, Is Your Marriage Legal Before God and Man? Find out now. We will uncover the hidden legal gaps that can render a marriage void, even after years of living together. We'll explore what makes a marriage truly valid under the law, reveal the common mistakes that cost people their legal protection, and explain how to regularize, or secure your union before it's too late. So, stay with me as we begin this important journey, because what you're about to learn could protect your home, your future, and the one you love. Let's begin.
Lord, guidance us, we surrender.
Peace in accents.
What makes a marriage legally valid? Before a marriage can be recognized by law, it must pass through a specific process, a process not built on emotion, tradition, or blessings, but on structure, consent, and documentation. The law doesn't see love. It doesn't see family approval. It doesn't even see the size of your wedding. The law sees proof, and that proof is a legally recognized marriage certificate. Let's break it down clearly. 1. Consent. The first condition of a valid marriage is free will. Both the man and the woman must consent voluntarily. Any marriage entered by force, deception, or fear is invalid. 2. Legal age. Each partner must have reached the age approved by law, typically 18 years and above. A minor cannot legally give consent, no matter what customs may allow. 3. Qualified officiant. The marriage must be conducted by someone legally licensed to officiate under the Marriage Act. A pastor without government authorization can bless your union spiritually, but that blessing alone has no legal power. 4. Registration and certificate. After the vows are made, the marriage must be registered at the government registry. The certificate you receive there is not a decoration, it's your proof of existence before the law. 5. Witnesses. Every legal marriage requires witnesses, people who can stand before the court and confirm that your union was genuine and voluntary. When these elements are complete, consent, age, authorized officiant, registration, and witnesses, your marriage becomes legally valid. You and your partner are now recognized as one legal entity, protected under the law's authority. But when one of these conditions is missing, everything built on that foundation becomes fragile. A single missing signature can shatter a lifetime of dreams. Imagine a woman who loses her husband and goes to claim his property, only to be told, "Madam, according to the records, you were never married." Or a man who discovers that his union, blessed 10 years ago, was never registered and holds no legal weight. The law is not sentimental. It protects what it recognizes. And if your marriage isn't documented, it simply doesn't exist in its books, no matter how sincere your vows, or how deep your love. That is why today's lesson matters. Love is divine. Culture is beautiful, but legality is protection. Because the law may not comfort you in loss, but it will secure you in truth.
I find out, so illegally recognized. I can't.
Common reasons a marriage may be invalid. Now that we understand what makes a marriage valid, let's turn to the reality most people never question, the reasons so many marriages fail the legal test. Across cities, villages, and even modern churches, couples are living together as husband and wife, but in the eyes of the law, their union is an illusion. Here are the most common reasons why marriages are ruled invalid or void. 1. Failure to register the marriage. Many couples stop at the ceremony. They never take the crucial final step of registration. They have the pictures, the rings, the guests, but not the document that proves it ever happened. Without a marriage certificate issued by the recognized registry, your union is invisible in the eyes of the law, no matter how grand your wedding was. 2. Unlicensed officiants. Some pastors or elders officiate weddings without proper authorization under the Marriage Act. Their blessing is sincere, but legally, it means nothing. When the day comes that proof is needed, the court looks not at who prayed over you, but who had the legal power to bind you. 3. Existing marriage, bigamy. One of the gravest errors, marrying someone who is already legally married under the Act. The law allows only one valid monogamous marriage at a time. If you marry a person still bound by a previous registry marriage, your union is automatically void. Ignorance is not protection. Always verify the legal status of your partner before saying I do. 4. Forged or fake documents. Some couples, in a rush or through dishonest agents, end up with fake marriage certificates. The papers look real, until the court checks the registry database, and then, everything collapses. 5. Lack of consent or coercion. No marriage can stand on the foundation of fear or force. If either partner was deceived, threatened, or mentally incapable of understanding what they were signing, the marriage is invalid from the start. 6. Underage marriage. In many regions, custom may allow it, but under statutory law, marriage below the legal age is null and void. A child cannot consent to a lifelong contract. The law protects them, even when culture stays silent. These errors don't just void a piece of paper, they destroy protection. They erase your right to inheritance, to property, to justice. And sadly, many discover this only when it's too late. So, before you celebrate, verify. Before you wear the ring, check the registry. And before you call it marriage, make sure the law agrees with you. Because true marriage is more than vows, it's a covenant that must stand both before God and before the law.
We bring these gifts not just as tokens, but as promises.
Case study. I thought I was married. Let me take you into a true-to-life story. A story that repeats itself every week in courtrooms across Africa. Her name was Ngozi. For 15 years, she lived as Mrs. Chukwuma. Together, they built a home, raised 3 children, and survived storms that would have crushed many couples. They had done the traditional rites. The elders gathered, cows were given, prayers were said, kola nuts shared, and palm wine flowed. But they never went to the registry. Then, one day, everything changed. Chukwuma died in a car accident, suddenly, without a will. Ngozi believed the house, the business, and his pension were rightfully hers and her children's. But when she appeared before the court, the truth hit her like a storm. As the judge pronounced, this woman was never legally married under the Marriage Act. The deceased's family remains his next of kin. Her bride price had been paid. Her vows had been spoken. Her heart had believed. But the law did not. She walked out of that courtroom with nothing, no house, no claim, no protection. Even the family land she helped cultivate was taken back by in-laws. It wasn't because she was unloved. It wasn't because she wasn't faithful. It was simply because the marriage that existed in her heart did not exist in the eyes of the law. This is why knowledge matters. A marriage without legal recognition is like a house without a foundation. It may stand for years, but the day of rain will reveal the truth. If Ngozi's story sounds familiar, let it not end the same way. Go to your local registry, make it official, and protect the covenant you cherish. Because marriage is not just about love and culture, it's also about law and protection.
The old church bell rings through the morning air, calling out to the folks with their hearts laid bare. Dusty boots on the...
Legal versus religious ceremonies. Across Africa and much of the world, 2 kinds of marriage ceremonies exist side by side, religious and legal. They often look alike, white gowns, rings, vows, prayers, yet, in the eyes of the law, they are not the same. A religious marriage is sacred. It is the union recognized before God, blessed by clergy, and celebrated by faith. But a legal marriage is the one recognized by the state, documented, registered, and enforceable by law. In many countries, especially in Africa, confusion arises when the church wedding is assumed to be the legal one, when in truth, only churches licensed by government can perform a marriage under the Marriage Act. That means your pastor may bless your love, but if his church is not licensed, you are married in spirit, but not in law. You see, religion focuses on covenant, law focuses on contract. One sanctifies your union before God. The other secures your union before society. And yet, the most powerful marriage is one that honors both. A union that begins before God and stands strong before the law. The clergy may pray, the choir may sing, the family may rejoice, but unless the law records it, the nation will not recognize it. It's not about choosing one over the other. It's about understanding that faith sanctifies, but law secures. God blesses love, but government protects rights. So, whether you marry in church, mosque, shrine, or under the stars, make sure your union is also sealed in ink. Because in this world of faith, law, and culture, it is the balance of the 3 that keeps a marriage unshakable.
Dusty boots on the steps of that hallowed ground. In the name of Jesus, peace is found.
Legal consequences of an invalid marriage. When a marriage is declared invalid, it doesn't just break hearts, it breaks protection. It means that in the eyes of the law, the union never existed. And when the law says your marriage never existed, several consequences follow, some of them devastating. 1. Loss of inheritance rights. If your marriage is invalid, you are not a legal spouse. You cannot automatically inherit property, pension, or benefits of the deceased partner. The estate may pass instead to parents, siblings, or even distant relatives. 2. Children's legal status. While most modern laws protect the rights of children born in any union, an invalid marriage can still complicate issues of custody, inheritance, and legitimacy. In some cases, the children must undergo extra legal procedures to be recognized as heirs. 3. Loss of marital privileges. An invalid marriage means you lose marital privileges, like joint ownership of property, spousal rights in court testimony, and even access to certain government or employment benefits reserved for recognized couples. 4. Immigration and identity issues. In cases where a spouse depends on the other for legal status, like residence, citizenship, or visa, an invalid marriage can nullify those rights instantly. Some people discover too late that their stay permit or legal identity was tied to a marriage that never existed. 5. Vulnerability to abuse and abandonment. And worst of all, an invalid marriage leaves one partner completely unprotected. No law to enforce promises. No right to seek maintenance. No ground to claim justice when abandoned. The court cannot dissolve what it never recognized. It cannot protect what it never knew existed. This is why the law insists on registration, not to destroy culture, not to oppose faith, but to protect human dignity. Because when a marriage is invalid, it's not only the union that suffers. It's the people, especially women and children, who pay the highest price. So, when you hear someone say, "We've been together for years, that's enough," remind them gently, love is powerful, but legality is protection. Because a relationship without legal standing is like a roof without walls, it offers shade, but not shelter.
The claim has been denied.
In the name of Jesus, the lost are found. Mercy pours like rain on this sacred ground.
Bigamy and polygamy, legal limits. Marriage is a sacred bond, but what happens when one bond becomes 2 or 3? Across Africa and much of the world, marriage is not defined by one culture alone. In some traditions, a man can take more than one wife, each marriage celebrated, each union respected. But under the Marriage Act, the law that governs statutory marriages, the rule is simple and strict: one man, one woman. Anything beyond that is illegal. If you are already married under the Marriage Act and you marry another person, even traditionally or religiously, the law calls it bigamy. And bigamy is not just a mistake. It is a crime. Section 370 of the Nigerian Criminal Code, for example, defines bigamy as marrying another person while your first marriage under the Act is still valid. The punishment: up to 7 years imprisonment. Many don't realize this, that once you marry under the Marriage Act, you are bound to one partner for life, unless dissolved by law. A second marriage, no matter how emotional, cultural, or spiritual, becomes invalid. But here's the cultural twist: under customary or Islamic law, polygamy is not forbidden. It is legally recognized as long as the man follows the laws of that system from the beginning. This means you cannot mix the two systems. You cannot marry one wife under the Marriage Act, and then take another under customary or Islamic rights. The law will not permit it. The confusion often begins when love crosses boundaries, when a man under statutory marriage takes a second wife traditionally, thinking culture will protect him. But in the eyes of the state, that second marriage is void. The woman has no legal standing, no rights, no recognition. It's a painful reality, one marriage celebrated by the community, yet condemned by the law. So, what should we learn from this? Understand the system you choose. If your faith or culture supports multiple wives, stay within that legal framework. But if you marry under the Marriage Act, respect its rules. Because the real issue is not the number of wives, it's the confusion that comes when we mix law and culture without understanding their limits. In the end, faith sanctifies, culture celebrates, but the law defines. And once you enter the Marriage Act, polygamy becomes a prison, not a privilege.
A young man stands with a heavy heart, searching for a way to make a new start. The preacher says,
How to regularize or validate your marriage. Maybe you're watching this right now and thinking, oh no, what if my marriage isn't legally valid? Don't panic. Don't feel condemned. The truth is, what ignorance broke, knowledge can rebuild. The law provides a path for couples to correct their marital status. It's called regularization, or legal ratification. It's the process of transforming your cultural, or religious marriage into a legally recognized one. Here's how it works, simple, clear, and doable. Step 1. Visit the local marriage registry. Start by visiting your nearest local government marriage registry. Ask to speak with the registrar about regularizing an existing traditional or religious marriage. They'll guide you through the process, no judgment, just clarity. Step 2. Verify documents and officiant license. Bring all evidence of your union, photos, invitation cards, proof of bride price payment, and especially any certificate issued by your church or mosque. The registrar will verify whether your marriage was conducted by a licensed officiant. If not, that's where the correction begins. Step 3. Re-register or conduct a legal ratification ceremony. If your previous ceremony wasn't under the Marriage Act, the registrar will schedule a simple re-registration, sometimes called a legal ratification ceremony. It's brief, beautiful, and purely legal. You sign new papers, exchange vows, and receive your official certificate. Step 4. Collect your official marriage certificate. Once completed, you'll receive the official marriage certificate, a document that gives your union full recognition before the law. From that moment, your marriage is sealed, spiritually, culturally, and legally. It's not about repeating your wedding. It's about protecting your future. You've already made the commitment, now you're simply making it legally unshakable. Don't wait for a tragedy before you take this step. Walk in now, regularize it, and walk out smiling, because true love deserves both heaven's blessing and the law's protection.
Welcome! Congratulations on your special day. Let me get your paperwork ready.
Faith, law and culture, where they intersect and conflict. Now that we've explored the legal side, let's step back and look at the bigger picture, the meeting point of faith, law, and culture. Because marriage isn't just a ceremony, it's a covenant that lives within these three worlds. Faith says, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Law says, what is signed, sealed, and registered cannot be denied. Culture says, what the family and elders have blessed must be honored. Each speaks truth, yet none stands complete without the others. When faith blesses without law, love becomes spiritual, but not protected. When law signs without faith, it becomes a contract, not a covenant. And when culture binds without understanding either, it risks becoming tradition without truth. But when all three, faith, law, and culture, agree, something powerful happens. The marriage becomes sacred, legitimate, and unbreakable. It honors God, satisfies the law, and preserves heritage. That's why confusion arises today, because people choose one and ignore the others. Some say, as long as we did the church wedding, we're fine. Others insist, we paid the bride price, that's enough. But the truth is, every dimension must be respected. A society begins to break when its moral, legal, and spiritual foundations no longer agree. And marriage, the very first institution established by God, reflects that balance more than anything else. So if your union stands in the middle of faith, law, and culture, you are not just married by people or paper. You are married in truth.
Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm.
Closing lessons. We began this journey asking one simple, but heavy question: what truly makes a marriage valid? And through faith, law, and culture, we have discovered that marriage is more than a contract. It is a covenant. A sacred bond that demands not just love, but understanding, commitment, and recognition. Faith teaches us that love must be pure. Law teaches us that love must be protected. Culture teaches us that love must be honored. If any of these three is missing, the foundation begins to shake. But when all three agree, something divine happens: a home is built, a family is blessed, and a generation is preserved. So before you call that relationship a marriage, pause. Ask yourself, is it recognized in heaven? In the law? In our culture? Because marriage is not just between two lovers, it's between two souls, two families, and three dimensions of truth. And to those who've discovered through this episode that their marriage may not yet be valid, don't despair. This isn't condemnation, it's revelation. It's a call to align, to rebuild, to make right what was once incomplete. Because true love deserves to be protected. By faith, by law, and by culture. If this episode has opened your eyes or strengthened your faith in the sanctity of marriage, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're new to this series, make sure to subscribe to Deliverance Tube, where truth meets understanding, and knowledge becomes freedom. Because the greatest deliverance is knowledge. I am your host, reminding you, a valid marriage isn't built on paper, rings, or rituals, it's built on truth. Thanks for watching. And now, we return to Pastor Ebenezer for the final word.
Thank you for watching this important teaching. I believe you must have been blessed. Don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to Deliverance Tube. You can also connect with me on Facebook for questions or counseling. The link is in the description. God bless you, and I pray that your home be established in divine order, and the peace of God rule supreme in your marriage. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you.